Thank you. I would love to introduce our speaker today, Eileen Doyle. She has a master's in science for teachers and a CRSW-S. She's the training coordinator at SOS Recovery Community Organization. She enjoys training the future peer workforce and offers 3 CRSW training series per year, along with courses in motivational interviewing. And she also runs journaling groups for incarcerated men and women at the Strafford County Department of Corrections. Eileen has completed motivational interviewing trainings with Stephen Andrew, John Gilbert, and Jeffery Decker with Telos Motivational Interviewing for Law Enforcement. She attends the HETI MI Learning Community, and she's also enrolled in advanced MI practice and will attend the Motivational Interviewing Network of Trainers training program in October. So before joining the field of recovery, she was a high school teacher for 23 years in Haverhill, Mass, and a journalist in Lawrence, Mass. So let's all welcome Eileen.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's great to see you all here today. This is motivational interviewing on steroids. We usually do this training at least over 6 hours, MI Basics, and we also have an 11-hour MI Basics. So I'm hoping it won't feel like too much of a fire hose today, but I appreciate you being here, and I know some of you already have experience, and some of you are already, using MI in your own work, and maybe some of you are hearing about it and curious about it for the first time. So welcome to all of you, and thanks for being here. So a couple of objectives today. We're going to understand motivational interviewing as a way to guide conversations. It's a lot about showing up with empathy and really active listening, but it's also an active practice. We really are trying to guide people toward the changes they may want to make, okay? And the way we do that is we use MI skills, which are the open-ended questions, the affirmations, reflections, and summaries. So we will go through all of those today. And then we're going to look at, how to recognize and expand on change talk when people start talking about, changes they may want to make. Sometimes that change talk is, kind of hidden. So we really want to, make sure that we're aware of, when people start to broach the subject of, direction they may want to go. All right. So next slide. I think this is just a title slide, so we can go right ahead. And there's our objectives again, so we can skip that one. All right. So here's our definition of motivational interviewing. So the idea of motivational interviewing, the practice, was developed in the 80s. William Miller worked with people with drug and alcohol dependency, and he really didn't like the way it was going and how he was seeing people being treated, a lot of advice giving and telling people what they should be doing. So he wrote a paper about this idea of how we might communicate better. And Stephen Rolnick came across that paper, and the two of them ended up meeting up. And this whole practice grew. This is their 4th book that they've put out since the 80s. And you can see by the definition, it started as a clinical practice, but now there's no mention of behavioral health or clinicians, because this is a practice for all of us, right? This is how we can do our work in peer recovery support. So just quick, the definition is: motivational interviewing is a particular way of talking with people about change and growth to strengthen their own motivation and commitment, right? So pretty straightforward. We can all do it. All right, so the spirit of MI is the thing we always talk about first, because it's the foundation of MI, the foundation of this practice. So when we think about the spirit of MI, like if you were building a house, right, this would be the foundation. This holds it all up, and this is how we show up, right? So it's the acronym PACE. So we start with the idea of partnership, right? We're partnering with our participants, right? There's no real power differential there. We're in the car with them. They are driving, right? So we might be able to help with the GPS a little bit, if you want to take that analogy a little further, but they are the one driving, right? They are making the decisions about where they want to go. not us, right? We're showing up with full acceptance. So we often say, we meet people where they're at. And it even goes beyond that to that idea of accurate empathy, right? So we're really thinking about what our biases might be. The person sitting in front of us, maybe they're in a situation or they're making certain decisions that, we have opinions or bias toward. And it's really putting that aside so we can have, full acceptance of the person. We show up with compassion and we are empowering the person. So it's a strengths-based practice. So we're remembering always that the person in front of us, has a lot of life experience, has certain strengths and abilities, and we're trying to draw those out, help them, discover or rediscover those. Okay, next slide, please. And this is the trauma whisper is what we try to remember, an idea from Stephen Andrew, one of my mentors in Portland, Maine. A lot of our participants are coming from this space because of what they've experienced. They think they don't matter. They think they're not lovable, and they think the world is not to be trusted. Okay, so these things really can get in the way of, them being able to move forward. So it's really important for us to remember this and to also know that empathy is the antidote to this. So if we can sit with people and really, try to remember where they're at, imagine where they're at, that can really mitigate some of these feelings and help people trust us enough to want to share, right? All right, next slide, please. And this is the opposite of what everyone wants. So this is the whispers of hopes and dreams. We all, as humans, want control of our own life and destiny. We want and we crave that sense of purpose. We want to love and be loved. And we all need that sense of connection and community, right? So that all makes sense. All right, next slide, please. And when we think about the spirit of MI, it's not really motivational interviewing without the spirit. You could use the skills, the OARS, the open-ended questions and affirmations, reflections and summaries. But if you're not showing up with that idea of partnership and acceptance and compassion and the idea that you're going to help empower a person, it's not really MI, right? A car salesman could use those same tools, but that's not going to work, with the kind of work we're doing. So that spirit creates a kind of relationship that enables the change to occur. What I just mentioned, it engenders that kind of trust that helps people open up. And we're going to use the OARS to help implement that spirit. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so we're going to practice what we mean by the spirit here for a few minutes. So we're going to put you in breakout rooms of 2, and just amongst the 2 of you decide who would like to be the speaker and who's going to be the helper, right? The helper will be the one practicing MI. So we're only going to do this once. So whoever wants to be the speaker or helper, the speaker, please think of someone who has had a profound positive impact on your life, like a parent, relative, teacher, coach, counselor, maybe a spiritual leader or a supervisor, and share the experience with your helper, right? Like how this person had such a positive impact on you. So questions you can answer as you describe this person to your helper are on the slide, and we will put the slide in your breakout room so you can see it. And the helper, your job is just to listen intently for what they're telling you. And you can ask 1 or 2 open-ended questions, right? And at the end of the conversation, offer a 20-second summary of what you heard them tell you, okay? So we're practicing just really listening intently and seeing if we can provide a summary of what we heard at the end. All right, sound good?
All right, here we go. We're going to open all the rooms. Enjoy. And Eileen, I think, can join room 1. Okay, guys, are you able to open up the breakout rooms and make sure everybody has a partner? So you're able to see that? I see Vanessa in room 3 just lost her partner, so I'm gonna send Lena there.
Okay. I think everyone else has a partner there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elisa just lost her partner too, so I'm going to add her to someone else's session. I'll just add her to room 11. Okay. So we have one room with 3 because of that, but would it be better to add her with Lena or Eileen? Does that look okay?
It's okay.
Yeah, I think we can leave it for now.
Okay. And see how the automatic closing works, if it holds up for us.
Okay.
It's set
Now,
to close. Go ahead.
the second time we go into the breakout rooms, would it automatically put them back into the same rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's how it should work.
Okay.
These same people should go in their same rooms.
Okay.
Here until, I guess we started a little bit early, huh? It was set for 10:45 to 10:50, but I think we got in there at about 10:43.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I won't complain, so.
Looks. Oh, Troy got in there too, huh? Oh, good. All the breakout rooms will close in 56 seconds.
Hello.
I need to hit okay. All right, I got to go in a breakout room too, which was great. How did it go for everyone else? Any,
Too short. Didn't really have enough time to get into it, but
yeah. Am I on steroids, remember?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of a tough question too.
Yeah, right. It would have been nice to maybe prepare someone.
Mm.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I use motivational interviewing in my daily job, so it just kind of drove home why motivational interviewing is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thanks, Dante.
Good to see you, Eileen.
I agree there wasn't enough time because I totally wasn't paying attention, so I wasn't able to do a 20-second summary. I did more like a 10-second summary of what she said
Yeah.
because I was busy listening to what she was saying.
Yep. That's okay. And sometimes it's daunting to be asked to do that, right? Like, give me a summary. Any other challenges around that?
Yeah, so my helper, I was the speaker, and she only had time to ask one question, but she asked a very good question. Like it was definitely an open question. Like the question she asked could have like prompted this whole other like a conversation. So
Mhm. So a really nice open-ended question.
yes.
Yeah, they definitely invite conversation, right? Those open-ended questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other challenges or what went well?
I just like having these type of conversations because I get to know a little bit more about my partner. And it's just really nice where you can find things that you can relate to them on, but also the differences and have your own thoughts surrounding that. So I just had a really great conversation with my partner.
Yeah, it really lets you right into a part of their life, an important part of their life, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else anyone wants to mention? All right, we'll go on. The next thing we do, we'll give you a couple more minutes, so it won't be as short, but all right, next slide. So the reason that we did this was to illustrate the spirit of MI, right? And when you think about that person who inspired you, look at all these components again, right? The PACE, the spirit of MI with the acronym PACE, that person probably displayed these characteristics, right? This is probably what they were bringing to your relationship, if I had to guess, right? That sense of partnership, that sense of true acceptance of who you were, having that accurate empathy, respecting your autonomy, right? Your ability to self-govern, showing up with that compassion, right? And the empowerment. They were, they knew you had strengths and they were drawing them out. Does that sound like your person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then we were successful. Thank you. We'll go on to the next one. All right, so here's just some of the research around MI. And there has been a lot of research since it's been around for 40 plus years now. And it's the number one predictor of treatment and prescription adherence, and outcomes is the client perception on provider empathy, right? So if we're, and I think we can all relate to this, right? If we've, had a provider or a doctor or whomever who doesn't appear empathetic at all, that no bedside manner, we're less likely to follow their advice, right? We're less likely to want to have a relationship with them. Motivation is not enhanced by persuasion or convincing, it's internal. So isn't this a beautiful thing that we don't have to go around giving out advice or our opinions anymore? That's very freeing. It doesn't work, right? Yet we all do it, but the research shows it doesn't work. Motivation is increased when the client understands and wants to change their own symptoms or consequences, when they recognize them and we can help them draw them out. And the client has to be involved in setting their own goals. And if it doesn't match something important to their life, they won't do it. So if they want to, for example, improve their relationship, improve their financial picture, those are, some values that would be involved in setting goals that mean something to them. So it has to come from them. All right, so that's what the research shows. All right, we can go on. Okay, we're going to get into the idea of change talk. and sustained talk. Sustained talk meaning, people are at the place where they don't want to change. And change talk obviously is when they're thinking about changing and using some language around change. And ambivalence is that big C around it, that is that place where there's indecision. It seems like they want two incompatible things. We want something, but we really don't want it. Excuse me. It's a natural process, and it's a hopeful place because we're thinking about change, right? We know there's another option out there when we're ambivalent. So you think about your own experiences when you want to change something in your own life, whether it's going to the gym more, eating a healthy diet, improving your relationship. It's easy to go back and forth. You're comfortable in this other place where things are at. So that's your sustained place, but you also know there's a way, there's a possibility of change. So that's what we refer to when we talk about ambivalence. Okay, it's part of the process. All right, next slide, please. All right, so here is sustained talk. So this is language that favors not changing or staying the same. So I want to stay the same for whatever reasons. I feel like there's an inability to change. Like maybe I don't have the confidence to change. I have reasons to stay the same, not change. I don't want to, leave my friends, my community maybe. I have an actual commitment to stay the same or not change, right? So this is all involved with sustained talk. This is who I am and I'm not going to change, right? I can't imagine it. I can't do it. There's too many things in my life that make me think I can't move forward on whatever it is. We hear a lot of this, right, in our work. But also that, that ambivalence is also present too, because someone is sitting before us and they're there for a reason. All right, next one. All right, so this is the change talk, and there's two types. There's preparatory and mobilizing. So the preparatory is broken down with the acronym DARN. So that's a desire to change. When you hear phrases like, I want to cut down, I would like to stop using, I wish I could, an ability to change, like I can do this, I can try again. I have maybe some reasons to change, like if I make this change, then maybe my relationship will improve. The need to change, maybe something like, I need to do this for my kids, right? My kids are really struggling. So those are all, what we listen for. And when we hear those kinds of things, we really want to focus on that. And that's where the direction comes in, right? You really want to, when we get into some of the skills in a few minutes, I have some examples of how we can move forward using the change talk. All right, so next slide. All right, and this is the mobilizing change talk. And so the first part, the preparatory, has that acronym DARN, and then this one has CATS, and we make this little phrasing of darn cats, right? So we listen for this change talk, but we don't squeeze the cats, and I'll get into that in a minute. So mobilizing change talk has more to do with like commitment. When someone's offering you assurance it's going to happen, I will do this, I promise. Activation, like leaning towards some action, I'm willing to do this, I'm thinking about it. And then taking steps, like I called 3 places about jobs, I filled my prescription. And when people start to use change talk with us, we get really excited, right? And often we want to like, okay, let's do this. I have this resource and that resource, call this person, do this, do that. But in motivational interviewing, we really try to sit in this place for some time and really try to empower people to build their confidence and motivation, right? Because if we offer the resources too fast, people tend to shut down, right? So that's what's meant by that acronym, darn cats. Don't squeeze the cat because the cat will run away, right? We even have a little short story about it that I usually read, but not today. This is MI on steroids. All right, next slide. Here's just some examples of sustained talk and change talk. So someone could be saying, I really enjoy smoking, right? I don't want to quit. I don't think I could stand the withdrawal. It's the only way I have to relax. I need to be able to smoke. I plan to keep on smoking. I've decided to keep on smoking. I bought 2 cartons of cigarettes today, right? So when we hear this stuff, we're sitting there with them, right? We're having that empathy, that understanding, right? They're just in that place. Change talk, here's the darn cats broken down, what it looks like. I want to quit smoking. I think it's possible. My children are begging me to do it. I've got to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm willing to give it another try. I bought some nicotine gum today, right? All right. Next slide, please. All right, we're going to get into our OARS. I always remember I took a motivational interview training in Portland with Steve and Andrew. And the hotel where it was actually had the OARS in the lobby. I thought, wow, these people are really serious. All right, so these are the OARS. And a lot of you have heard, that the open-ended questions, right? We ask open-ended questions rather than closed. And affirmations are when we try to affirm, what people are doing. We break them down into simple affirmations and then complex affirmations. I'll get into that in a minute. And then reflections, simple and complex also. I'll expand on that as well. And then summaries, which you just did. So you just experienced what it's like to come up with a summary. So those are our OARS. Those are the skills we use. So when we think about engaging with people, we went through the spirit of MI. So I just want to mention that accurate empathy again, really important. We all have the biases, right? We all have our biases. And it's really important to recognize them and, be self-aware about them and then be able to put them aside, right? And instead, imagine how they might feel being in the situation they're in and thinking about that trauma whisper that they're probably experiencing. We're going to use our OARS skills. We're going to use reflective listening and mirroring instead of asking a lot of questions. So those are the reflections. So we're going to offer reflective statements about what the person is telling us rather than asking questions. We're going to focus on their strengths. Like this is the empowerment idea, right? So asking questions around how have you handled situations like this before, brings out their motivation and confidence. And the idea of continuing the paragraph, which is saying what you think they are thinking or feeling, so they keep talking. This is where, we have to be a little vulnerable, be willing to be a little uncomfortable, because we're going to be offering some ideas that they may not have said, but where we might think they're thinking or what we think they might need. So we'll get into that with the complex reflections. All right, next slide, please. All right, so the first of the OARS is the open-ended questions. So as we said, they invite conversation. Closed questions have a one-word answer and can stall or shut down a conversation. So, a lot of the people that we're working with have been through intakes and they've answered a ton of questions, right? A ton of closed questions, and people just tend to shut down, right? Think of yourself. If someone's asking you a bunch of questions, it's not enjoyable. It's not a back and forth kind of conversation. So just look at these for a minute. examples of questions, open and closed. So how many times have you used meth in the last 6 months? What kind of question is that?
Closed.
Closed.
Closed. Yeah, you can just turn on your mics.
Closed.
Thank you. Don't you think at this point you should just stop?
Closed.
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 Yes. And
Closed.
you know your smoking puts your kids at risk for getting asthma, right?
Closed.
Yep,
Closed.
closed. With a little dose of shame. All right, how about these? Tell me about your meth use.
That's an
Open.
open-ended.
It is open. Yep. And what are your thoughts about stopping?
That's open.
Yeah. And what do you already know about the risks?
Open.
Yeah. Nice
Open.
open, nice open
Yeah.
questions, right? So you can
Mhm.
see the huge difference, right? All right, next slide, please. All right, so these are the affirmations. And affirmations convey like positive regard for the speaker, you know, for your participant. And a simple affirmation just kind of comments on something positive the participant has done or said. It can be done in the moment based on immediate observation. But we need to be careful of this because they can be overused or seem disingenuous, right? Thomas Gordon has done some interesting work about roadblocks to communication. And one of the roadblocks to communication, he has said, is praise. And we think, how can praise be a roadblock, right? Don't we all want praise? But sometimes praise can be seen as manipulative, right? Like you're trying to get the person to do something. And when you think about praise, if you're praising the person a lot and maybe the next time you see them, you're not praising them. So what's the opposite of praise? If there's no praise, maybe it can be seen as criticism, right? And a lot of praise can also make people think you don't really understand their situation. So we try to use more what's called complex affirmations. So that really comments on something you appreciate or admire about the person, like one of their positive attributes or character traits. And it requires like knowing more and listening for the person's strengths and patterns. And they connect the current experience with something admirable about the person. And there's some examples of this on the next slide. So a simple affirmation would be something like, you've made some great progress. Thank you for sharing with me what's going on. And the complex affirmations would be something like, you know, you showed a lot of courage by enrolling in a GED class. So like was said, that you can tell you'd need to know something more about the person. Maybe they were really nervous about moving forward. Maybe they had a lot of shame or suffering from some stigma around this. So, you know, you showed a lot of courage. You're a devoted dad who works hard to take care of his children, right? So that would be complex. So you can see how they're more value driven, right, than the simple ones. And simple ones are okay once in a while, but you just want to be careful not to overuse these. They're really good when people are more of an action stage, right? All right, next slide, please. All right, and these are the reflections, right? So these are like the gold standard of motivational interviewing, I think. They're really effective because it shows the person that you're really listening and understanding, and it also helps us move the conversation forward. So a simple reflection is just repeating back or paraphrasing what the person is saying. If someone said to you, you know, I'm afraid I'm going to overdose again. You might say, you're afraid you might die from your drug use, right? And if you want to go a little further, if they say, I'm afraid I'm going to overdose again, you might say, you're afraid you might die from your drug use and you're thinking it's time to make a change. They didn't say that, right? So you're making that gentle guess about where they might want to go. All right. And they might say, no, I'm not thinking of making a change. And that's okay. because the conversation will keep on going, right? It might go in a different direction, but it's going to keep on going. All right. The next slide has some more complex reflections. And if I could ask for a volunteer, I'll read the first part. And if you want to read the bold, it's just like a whole conversation where complex reflections are being offered.
I'll read.
You want to read the reflections, Alyssa?
Sure.
All right, awesome. I don't want to work for minimum wage. It's going to take me a week to make what I could make in an hour dealing.
You are used to making a lot more money and you're wondering how you'll provide for your family now.
Yeah, I told myself when I got out, I wouldn't go back to dealing, but what choice do I have?
You feel like you don't have a choice, but so far you have chosen not to do that.
That's true. My girlfriend stood by me while I was in prison, and she's not going to put up with that anymore.
You really care about your relationship with your girlfriend and you want to find a way to make this work without going back to your old life.
Yeah. Thanks, Alyssa. So you see how those kind of move the conversation forward, even though certain things are not being said, you know, as the helper, you're kind of reading between the lines there and making some gentle guesses, right? You're wondering how you're going to provide for your family now. And so far, you've chosen not to do it. And you really care about your relationship with your girlfriend. You want to find a way to make this work. And so this is a great example of guiding the conversation, right? He starts off in sustained talk, right? And just in a few short interactions, you've kind of moved the conversation. There's a little change talk there. I told myself I wouldn't go back to dealing, right? There it is. So the responses can be really pivotal. All right, next slide, please. And then the last of the OARS is summaries, which you've done today already. And summaries are just kind of a string of reflective statements, right? You're trying to summarize what the person has told you, and you definitely want to end with the change talk, right? So we're not spitting back everything the person has told us. We're trying to focus on some key points, and especially any change talk you heard, any action steps they talked about, right? And then at the end, you might ask, so what will you do now? And let them say it, right? The psychologist Carl Rogers has this great line about how people don't hear what we tell them. They hear what they say, right? So we're helping them, you know, talk about the direction they want to go and how they're going to get there. And that's really powerful, right? Another way to use summaries is not just at the end. You know, we often use them at the end of conversations, but they're also really useful if someone is just talking. You know, sometimes people come in and they're telling you, you know, maybe their whole story as they're thinking of it, or a lot of information at once. They might be talking really fast. We can gently interrupt, you know, this long string of information that's coming at us. If the person seems to be rambling, and just apologize and say, hey, I just want to make sure I'm getting, you know, getting the importance of what you're telling me, and just try to summarize the main points, right? Just to let them know you're listening. And if you heard any hint of change talk in what they told you so far, try to like focus the conversation on that. So summaries can be used as a way to focus a conversation. Okay, and there's 3 types. The collecting one, so the ideas you've heard during the conversation. You can do like a little linking strategy. Like, I wonder if it's like that feeling you had when you stopped smoking weed every morning and went for a walk instead. So, you know, pointing out like a positive experience and linking it to what they're trying to do now. Or transitional, you know, what you've discovered that, you know, just recapping what they've told you, what they've learned, and asking that question now, what will you do? All right. So those are the OARS, and we have another exercise for you. And I'm thinking that we're going to have time to do this twice, which would be great. So everybody gets a chance. So we're going to have partners again, speaker and helper. And the speaker is going to think about a change you've been considering making in your life. All right, so just take a moment, everyone take a moment, please, and think about a change you're thinking about making in your life. And once you have that, you're going to, with your partner, explain what you're thinking. You know, what change do you want to make? And the helper, most important, is not going to try to persuade or fix anything, not going to offer any advice or opinion, and instead ask those open-ended questions that are below one at a time, and listen carefully to what the speaker says. If you're comfortable, you can offer a couple of reflections, like paraphrase what they're telling you and make a gentle guess about what they might want or need. So these are the kind of questions you can ask. Why do you want to make this change? If you decide to make this change, how might you go about it in order to succeed? And what are the 3 best reasons for you to do it, right? So these are wonderful open-ended questions. And then how important would you say it is for you to make this change on a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is not at all important and 10 is extremely important? And a follow-up question, and why are you there rather than a lower number? So this is a great question because it kind of forces people to think about why they want to make the change, right? So if they say, you say, how important is it to you to make this change? And if they say a 7, you can say, okay, why isn't it a 5? And what does that do? That makes them talk about more about their reasons for wanting to make the change. All right, does that make sense? I hope. And after you've listened carefully to the answers to these questions, you're going to give back a short summary of what you heard about the person's motivation for change, and then ask that question, and what will you do now? So it ends with them talking about, an action step. Okay. I know there's a lot on the slide, but we will put it in the breakout rooms. And I just need some advice here if we have time to switch it, but maybe we should come back after one round and then go back in and do another.
Sarah,
Yeah,
we can
that
do
sounds like a
that.
great idea, Eileen.
Is that good? Okay. All right. So any questions about what we're doing? So when you get in there, when you get in your breakout room, decide who's going to be the speaker first and who's going to be the helper. And then the helper is the person practicing the MI. So they're going to ask all those great open-ended questions and do the summary at the end. So I think we all get a indication when there's a minute left. That's the time to do your summary. Okay. Any questions? All right. I think we're ready.
All right. Here we go. We're going to be opening up the rooms right now. There may be a few new partners just because of shuffling around, but here we go. Oh, good. I got Michelle in there. And then Eileen and And Lena should be coming back. Yeah, there were enough participants now to get everyone with a partner. One
Awesome.
group
Thanks,
has,
Brooke.
yeah, that went really well.
Thank you.
Eric Allard just mentioned that he's stepping away, so I put a third person in his group just in case he's not there.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, I'm thinking we could give him extra time too, because I'm way ahead, right?
That's what we were noticing. Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you guys say, Paul and Kai? Any preference, and Lena, any preferences?
Yeah, I'm just gonna double check on the agenda breakout section. Oh yeah, we're way ahead of time, so you can give them plenty of time, which will be good for them to talk back and forth.
Yeah, so if you keep them in there for like, I mean, at least 7 minutes, they could go and then come back and we can talk and then send them in again. You know, I think that would be good.
Unfortunately, since I already opened the session with the 5-minute
Oh, right.
setting,
Okay.
I'm not able to change that right now, but we can send them back. No problem, exactly where they were. Does
Yeah,
that work?
okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Yep, that's fine. Yeah.
So
That's
would you like,
Paul. Oh, sorry, Brooke, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, I was just gonna ask when they come back after 5 minutes, would you like to say any words and then send them straight back
Yeah.
for another 3
Yeah,
minutes?
let's have them ask questions or say, you know, how it went. Yeah, we can have a discussion. Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll
Perfect.
send them back and into the same rooms and they can switch.
And how long would you like the second round to go?
We could do 7.
Okay. Perfect. Go ahead, Lena. Got that clear.
I was gonna say, Eileen, maybe we could even do more like 10 minutes because you're really ahead.
I know. Sorry about that. I talk faster than I think.
Relatable.
Oh, and then I was gonna say, Paul, can you make a note for our debriefing meeting that we have like a plan in place for future COPs if like we run early? Like, so because I feel like Brooke reads that she's completely not stressed at all, but I don't know if like changing things while we're doing it stressing you out. So if we have like a plan B in case things run early or run late that we've already pre-discussed, it might help with your role a little bit better because I just don't want to stress you out by changing things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you've stressed me completely out, so
I have super ADHD, so I can just like fly by the seat of my pants and go in several different directions. Like it's something I do every day because it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know that is the same case for other people. So I just didn't want to like have Brooke leave and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll make a note on the Miro board for our next meeting.
And Brooke is always calm. I remember when I
Yes.
first started working with her, she had to like calm me down because my anxiety was like on 10.
That's nice.
You've got it
Yeah,
covered.
initially I thought this would be too many slides, you know, but it's crazy.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
It
It's
is.
so hard to tell.
Yeah.
And
No
especially
matter
like,
how much you time yourself.
yeah, and you know, I think along the way we could have had questions, right? Now that we see it.
So there's 1 minute and everyone's coming back.
Okay, great, thanks.
So we'll go for 7 minutes on the next one. Is that right?
Yeah, thank you, Brooke.
Okay. Would take us around 11:30 finalizing.
Yeah, and then we'll have another discussion and I can talk about the classes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. plenty of time for Q&A and chatting.
I like going with the flow of stuff. Sometimes having an agenda right down to specific minutes, like, doesn't leave room for changes, but like, Eileen, you're the perfect person to just go with the flow, and I love that.
Hope so.
No, I do.
Thank
It's
you.
so good. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everybody. How did that go?
I think it went really well. One thing that I observed is that you know, I again was the speaker and Courtney was interviewing me, and you know, she definitely didn't persuade, but because of the question she asked, it kind of brought me to that point of being like, oh yeah, I'll look at it this way. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like a gentle steering rather than saying, hey, you should do this. It's like, okay, how do you know, steering you to come to that own conclusion.
Right. Those are really powerful, open-ended questions.
Yes. Yeah, she
And
did really good.
they're definitely directional, and I'm really thrilled to hear that you were able to keep out opinions or advice, because that's the normal way we have conversations a lot of the time, right? We're interjecting our own experience. Hey, I know what you mean. That happened to me. I did that, blah, blah, blah. And it's fine with our friends, but even then we're taking that focus off them, right? And we're starting to talk about ourselves.
Yeah, and almost like mindlessly validating. You know what I mean? Like, say if like I'm like bitching someone, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining that well, but yeah.
Thank you, Troy. What else? What else came up?
I was the interviewer, and I was finding it hard not to like offer strategies in a way that was like fixing or giving advice or opinions. So like my creative brain was wanting to help or like step in a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. And that's our natural inclination, right? We all have that. It's, we call it the writing reflex. Sometimes we want to make people write. We want to help them. It comes from a beautiful place, right? We care. We want to help. But it's been shown that it doesn't really help, right? It's if we can open them up to, they have valid ideas and they know the way, and we're there to support and guide. That's what the research shows really does work and is sustainable, right? Because oftentimes people will just, oh yeah, that's a good idea. That sounds good. Yeah, I'll do that. But do they really, do they follow through with our advice? A lot of the times, no.
So for me, this time I was the speaker,
Mhm.
and I feel bad for anyone who has to be the listener, the helper with me, because I tend to have a lot of like, I just talk, and that may come from years of therapy and stuff like that. But I think she was really good at not like forcing information on me, or she didn't have a lot of time to ask questions.
Mhm.
Because I just said it, I just put it all out there. So but I think that it gives me a thought, being the speaker and being that person who has that kind of constant talking, help me understand a better idea of how I could, as a helper, potentially in the most helpful way, break into that when someone is just talking. But I do tend to be that person who just keeps talking and talking and talking.
So thanks, Pam. So you're thinking that like the interjection with, hey, let me just kind of try to summarize what you're saying would work well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Anything else? All right.
I need a lot more practice at this. I could relate so well to her, what she was sharing. And I so wanted to provide some, just my own little experience at the end. And I did, because I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. It's okay. You look at the self-awareness though, right? That's the positive.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could feel it in my body. It's like, just stop, don't do it, don't do it. It's like,
Yep.
I just got to tell you.
Well, that's if you recognize that, if that's all that happens today, that's perfect. You know, that's
It
our
is.
natural inclination, and we got to have grace for ourselves because that's the way we've been operating, right?
It is hard to not share and not offer your advice or your opinion. But having the questions there in front of me was a lot easier than just talking with someone. Like, it's harder to come up with open-ended questions, or you know what I mean, when you're
Yeah.
with someone, because they're talking and talking and talking.
Mhm.
And it's, you know, you don't want to interrupt, but sometimes you have to. So let me stop you there for a minute, and
Yeah.
let's go back and reflect on, well, I was the helper in
Yeah.
this scenario. So the speaker that I had was really good, and she knew what she wanted to do. And I didn't really have to do a lot of offering advice or my opinion or anything. She said that she would try to like increase it to, I mean, to have one night a week where she could go to bed early, you know?
Mhm.
And I said, well, you know, maybe my reflection back to her was, yes, and then you're recognizing what you want to do with your body, and you're listening to your body, and you're doing a self-care thing. You're caring about yourself. You could maybe stretch it to 2 days, 2 nights a week instead of,
Right.
and that's not a bad thing to say. It's
No,
just,
no, that sounds like some great reflections, Alyssa. Yeah. Thank you.
I think for me, my speaker, she wanted to put more workout time in her schedule. She
Mhm.
didn't sound so happy about it. So like I reframed it. I was like, I hear that you want to do more self-care things. What other self-care things do you think would be helpful? And she
Mhm.
was able to talk about something else she did, her nails. And I will tell you, that's when she smiled.
Yeah. Right.
So
Because you're
like reframing it.
right. And you're those kind of questions are empowering too, because you're, you know, helping her recognize that she knows of other things and she's done other things, right? And she can get there. Yeah. Great. Thanks, Dante. All right. Do you want to try it again? We're going to put you back, and we have a couple of extra minutes. So we're going to give you 7 minutes for this one. So don't hesitate to offer those reflections. You know, it's a great time to practice reflections, you know, once you get through the questions. And we're going to put you in the same room with the same person, and we're just going to have you switch roles. Okay. Sound good? All right.
Right, here we go. Enjoy, everyone.
Thanks, Brooke.
Okay, John, I'm going to give you a partner. All right. I think everybody is good.
All
Yeah.
right. I'm going to run to the restroom. I will be right back.
Yeah, you have plenty of time. And now, Paul.
Ooh, I'm
I
gonna
know
do the
you-
same.
Yeah, go for it. How are you guys feeling? This would probably be a good time for us to switch shares.
Okay.
I mean, we do have a few minutes, but what do you think? I think in when we come back, 7 minutes. Oh, Ellie. There'll just be conversation there on the same slide when everyone comes back. Eileen will be doing the report out. And then it'll be a good time for you to just keep the slides up and go along through Q&A, right?
Yeah, I think so. So, are you saying switch now or after the breakouts?
I think the slide stays up right? When we come back from the breakout.
Yeah.
So that puts us closer to 11:40.
Mhm.
So if you want to put your share up right now and just have it up there and leave it,
Okay.
we can do it together. So you would just go to share, have your slide 29 ready, and just make sure to click that share to breakout room box.
Okay. And it's saying only one presenter can share at a
Replace.
time, but I can replace. Okay. So I'll hit
Replace, yeah.
replace. Okay.
Yes,
And then I'm gonna check share to breakout rooms.
perfect. Yeah.
All right, I'm doing it.
Paul's like, I got it. I'm doing it.
Ah, look at you. Yeah, I wanted to be here for it to make you feel good about it. All right. I'm gonna pop over to an empty room and just check it out.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Paul.
Mhm.
So do you want to go to your share again and just make sure that you select the window and make sure you select the full screen one. Right now we see your full screen and your presenter mode.
Okay, so
So you can stop your share.
okay.
No worries. They've got the idea. They're chatting. They'll be fine.
Okay.
And when you go
So
to share, you should see, instead of sharing your screen, you should see windows.
oh,
And
I
one of
see.
them should be a full screen.
Okay. I see.
You see that?
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Excellent. All right. Very good. And I'm sure that you still have the box checked that says share to breakout rooms.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you feeling good?
Yeah, I think so.
You did it beautifully. I'm so
Okay.
sorry to leave you guys. I'm sorry, Eileen, I had a scheduling conflict that I botched on. I confused my times. So I have to leave a little bit early today. So Kai will be giving the final announcements, the concluding words. The rest of the agenda will go on as normal. Just Kai will be sharing the last few words that she's great at that.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And I think we might be closer to our goal time, right? It's
Yeah,
yeah,
it looks good.
good.
And comfortable time for everyone. Everyone seems to be participating really well. They feel comfortable to express themselves. So well done, everybody. That's really nice. Okay, any questions before I leave the meeting? Paul, you feeling good?
Yeah, I think I'm settled.
Yeah.
Okay. So Paul, just remember to click on make the screen active when you want to advance the slide. Because if you click other things, it like, hey, it's not advancing just for those few slides. But there's just a couple left. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
You guys got it. And then Kai will be closing the meeting with that ability to end the meeting, right? And recording automatically ends when you end it.
Right.
When you end the meeting. Okay. Thank you guys so much. And I'm
Thank
so
you,
sorry.
Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke. Thanks,
Thank
I
Brooke.
owe you. a beer or a massage or something. Whatever helps you with stress. All right, so you guys have a really great end of session. Thank you
You
so
too.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So Lena, I don't think you heard, but Brooke had a scheduling conflict, so she had to step away a little bit early, but Paul and I are taking over. He'll be doing the slides and I'll be closing us out.
Okay, I have full confidence. You guys.
I'm glad you do. I'm just kidding.
All will be well.
Yes, it will.
Oh, I still have this horrible cough.
Oh,
It's my own fault. I'm a smoker, so I feel like anytime I get sick, it's just worse.
Yeah.
It's on my list of things to fix, but
change.
right? I'm on like that 50 line, like 50% of me is like, I need to quit. And the other 50% is like, you can pull the cigarette out of my dead cold hands. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You're in the great sea of ambivalence.
exactly. It's such a gross habit and it's expensive too. So I'm like trying to like constantly remind myself all the negatives.
It sounds like you have a lot of reasons to give it up.
I have so many reasons.
You've been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah, see, you're a pro at this, Eileen.
You caught me. You caught me. Oh, well, I think we're going to do all right, Lena, on the timing. I was just saying, which is nice.
Yes, it all works out perfectly. For those who just joining us, Eileen was practicing her MI skills on me.
Oh, everyone's back. I didn't even see. I'm sorry. Okay. How did that go?
That went really well. I was the speaker this time, and my change that I'm considering making in my life was quitting smoking. And she really did help me. And she even like gave me some reflections, and she asked me all the questions, and she really did a great job with summarizing after. So I just said, I mean, she even came up with an idea for me. So I'm like really excited about it.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Changes do happen as a result of these trainings. It really does work. Thanks, Alyssa, for sharing that. Who else wants to comment on how it went or any challenges? It all went well. Seems natural and nobody snuck in any advice or opinions.
We got a little further this time because I hadn't been able to ask her on a scale of 1 to 10. So we actually got through all the questions, which felt good to get through that. I felt validated, yeah, it was good.
I have a
You were
question.
you were
I'm
the
sorry.
speaker?
Yes, I was the speaker.
Okay, yeah. So those questions felt good to you. You felt like you were really being heard and validated. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Troy.
So yeah, in this discipline of motivational interviewing, so this time I was the interviewer, and I noticed this actually happens quite a bit, in real life at working, when I'm working with somebody. Where does Anne-Marie was talking about like validation. I noticed that at one point I was like, "Oh, I know how you feel. I feel that way too." Obviously there's a boundary of being like you don't want to shift the focus over to like So what I guess kind of like what's the wisdom around that as far as like validating, but like if you had that same experience to interviewing, does that question make any sense?
Yeah, Troy, you had you wanted to validate them, but you noticed how that shifted the focus of the conversation onto you and away
Well,
from them.
yeah, well, that didn't happen. I'm just curious if motivational interviewing says anything about that, so that doesn't happen, or if that's about, is that like recognized or anything?
Yeah, we try our best to keep ourselves out of it, right?
Yeah.
We don't start talking about ourselves. We keep the focus on them. And even though it seems like you're going to make a deeper connection by talking about yourself and a similar experience, that's not what really happens, right? And the deeper connection comes from you really listening and reflecting back what they're telling you and trying to make that gentle guess about where they want to go and what they might need. That
Okay.
really,
Yeah, good answer. Yeah,
that's
thank you.
really validating. That's what does it, right? Not that, oh, that happened to me kind of thing, you know? Yeah.
And that's what my partner did was she just pointed out, it seems like you really know what you want and that you're not willing to settle. And so she was
Yeah.
just right. And
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, thanks. You know?
Yeah, that empowerment, right? That's an affirmation. Like you
Yeah.
feel really strong about this, and yeah, strongly. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly how I felt too, the empowerment part where it's like you can do this. It's almost like, you know, you're talking yourself into doing it too, but this person's like validating everything that you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it
Yeah,
works really good.
helping you get there, right? Helping you build your own motivation and confidence. Yeah. Thanks, Alyssa.
I think for me, one thing I've learned when I'm working with participants is that I can validate the feelings and still not go into the situation that caused me to have the same feelings. I can be like, oh, I can understand you feel really tired right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not putting the focus on me, but it's validating that, oh, I can understand what you're telling me. And I learned that from you, Eileen, because you're an amazing facilitator when it comes to this stuff.
Thank you, Dante. Yeah, if you just, you know, try to steer away from, you know, the I, you know, you can just say you're feeling. If you start with the word you, that usually works really well. Like you're really sick and tired of this, or you're really ready to make a change, instead of, you know, I hear that you're willing to make a change, that kind of thing, because that when that gets repeated too often, it just gets kind of tiresome to listen to. So if you just start with the word you, that works really well. Or taglines like, I hear you saying, things like that can come across as formulaic and even a little like therapy-ish, right? Which is not where we're coming from usually. So just try to start with you. Anything else? All right, I think that kind of wraps up my presentation for today. And thank you again for your participation. It was awesome, and your enthusiasm. I really appreciate it. The last thing I wanted to mention, this is our shameless promotion here. So this is what we offer through our training department at SOS. So we have MI the basics. We usually do that in 1 or 2 days. It's usually a 6-hour training or an 11-hour training over 2 days. We have an MI intermediate, we have MI advanced, and we've also done some MI cohorts where we work with different staffs. I see Michelle Lennon on here from Archways. Hi, Michelle. We did a cohort with them where we met with staff once a month for 6 months, just to give everybody the chance to practice, you know, their MI skills. So that can work out really well. And here's my contact information and John Burns' contact information, our executive director. I'm sure you all know him or know of him. And he's the one that ushered me into MI and is making me an MI nerd, as he likes to say. So I'm really excited to be going to the conference in Minneapolis on Sunday for my Mint membership. So thank you all very much. Please contact me.
Will the slides come? Will we be getting the slides, or can we get the slides? Because I like the way they were, you know, compact and, you know, informational.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, John.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if we're sending them out through, I mean, I can send them or.
Yeah, we'll have those posted on nhtac.org, and we'll have a link for that page in a couple slides. So
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending and participating in today's community of practice. We encourage you to visit our New Hampshire Technical Assistant website at nhtech.org to learn more about our COPs, as well as you can view past recordings there and explore other COPs that you may be interested in as well. Paul, if you can go to the next slide, please. As we conclude, as usual, we would appreciate your feedback. If you could please use the QR code displayed on the screen or click the link that I'll be dropping in the chat to share your thoughts. Please be advised that you must complete this survey to receive your certificate. And that being said, that will conclude our COP. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Lena,
Yes.
I had at my schedule for Maggie that we were supposed to meet about the next COP today, but I never got a link. So I don't know
Oh,
if you
no,
know.
that's next week. We have the debrief. Let me just look at the calendar so I can give you the exact